Okay, so today we're going to work on our album, our Halloween album, and a few things that you might think you might want to have. First of all, you need your album, so I'm going to put that aside. You're going to also need the 7/8 by 8 inch, and this will become our spine for our papers. And we're just going to get started on that today. We'll finish that next time. And then I have some hardware that I'm going to show you. It's not necessary, but it's kind of nice. First of all, I have these little, they're like pulls. And I am going to put one of those on the side of my book here. And then I have some cute little owls. I'm going to attach one of my owls with a chain and have that dangling down here. So you can put 3 or 4 or 5, whatever you like, just something to make it look pretty. And then also I have 2 ways, and Victoria's design shows you one way, which is really cool, and I'm going to do the same. She uses 2 closures, and they are hinge closures. One side goes on one side of your book, and then the other side, no, I can't get it to flip, goes on the other, and then that hinge closes down over it like that. And she puts 2. She puts one at the top and one at the bottom, but I'm just going to put one in the middle. That will be plenty for this. Okay, so you will need some kind of closure. The other type of closure that you might like, if you don't have the hinges, would be the brads. And I have some extremely large brads. And you could put one on each side and then wrap it with string. We've done that with other projects. So that's an idea if you don't have some of these fancy little hinges. Okay, I'm going to put these away because I do have hinges I'm going to use. I've used them for other projects. Okay, the other thing you're going to need is you're going to need your bone folder, your ruler, and the staples will be for tomorrow. Okay, something else that you might like are these fancy decorative edges. And when you put them on, they actually come with screws, but I have found that when I use the really tiny brads, I guess I shouldn't put that away, huh? When I use the really tiny brads, you can kind of see the difference. There's the huge one, and then there's the tiny one. They're quite a bit different. But the tiny brads will actually go through these holes, and then you can attach with the brads. So that's another idea. Rather than using the screws, you don't want to use the screws that come with these because you have nothing to screw into. And I guess these are nails. These are nails, so you have nothing to nail into. But the brads, they work just like any other time we've used a brad. We put it through and then we open it and then we cover it with paper. So that's another idea. And these I thought would be really cute back here on the back. Put 2 or even 4, but I thought just 2. Okay, so those are some ideas for you. And let's go ahead and get started putting this clasp on. And if you have brads, then you'll just go ahead and put holes where you want your strings to be. So I've gone ahead and I've done some measuring. And in order for this to fit, I have to have my holes 1/4 of an inch from the edge of my book on each side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this is my little cheat so that I don't punch a hole through here. I'm going to put that under there, and then I have my awl, and I am going to punch one hole, just one hole. And because I'm using brads, I'm going to use a very tiny brad, I'm going to put it through there and then put it through the hole that I've just punched. And that pretty much holds it. Okay, so I'm going to flip that and then I will show you what we do. Now, you want to make sure that this opens with the flaps going this direction. So I am going to go ahead and twist that, and you see I put this in here and then I twist it so that these lay down that way. And then use your bone folder. Oops, there we go. I got it just a little too. And that is perfect. So I'm pushing those so that they are down flat against my paper. Now what this does is then when I put my decorative paper, we will hide those little tabs. So this is actually where I like to use the score tape. And I use it in conjunction with the glue, the art glitter glue. The score tape will protect your surrounding papers, and then it also helps to hold, but I will put a little bit, when I put my fancy paper on here, I will put a little bit of glue on top of that also. So let's go ahead and decorate this just so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. I have some scraps somewhere. Let's see if we have anything that will fit. Nope. Ooh, that will fit. Let's use that one. That one looks pretty too. It looks like it will fit good. Okay, so I have my cut and scoreboard, and I am going to use a pencil, and what I do is I get it as close to my edge as I want it to be, and with this I want to get it pretty close so that I can cover that. And so then I will find where my fold is and mark it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that one first. And you can see I'm trying to get this lined up on this line. Okay. So I keep that just in case I need it for something. And then I'm going to do the same this way. I'm going to line it up at the top and see how far down I want it to go. I will give it a little tick mark, and then I will cut. Okay, we want to go ahead and burnish all of that, or smudge it, I'm sorry, smudge it with our ink. And again, I'm using the Vintage Photo. It's one of my favorites. I use it a lot. It just makes it look like an antique picture. Depending on what I'm doing, I'm going to make some birthday cards later, and I'm going to use some colors. And one of the colors I'm going to use is a purple. So I have some purple inks that for a card, a birthday card, I will use a more fun color, a fancier color. So I have several inks, and that's something you might want to think about, is getting a collection of the different inks that you like, that you will use. Okay, so we've gotten that. So the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and take this paper off of my score tape, and I want to put a bit of glue all over that, and it's just around those little tabs. And then I'm going to go ahead and put my glue on my paper. Now, I know different people do this different ways, but please remember you're welcome to do however you like when you glue things in. So I am putting that pretty close to my front edge, and I do that so that I can get those tabs to my brad covered very nicely. And I'm not going to push too hard on this side because it will crack my board, but I will flip it over, and now I'll push a little bit harder. And you can see I only have the one. I should have done the other one. I'm sorry. That was really not smart of me. Okay, I'm going to open that up just a little bit so that I can do this. And it's not too dry. And I need a brad. I'm a little disgusted with myself for forgetting to do this other side. But that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. That's a nice thing to know. You see some of these people on YouTube and they are so perfect. I am not perfect. I would like you to know that. I am not at all perfect. I make lots of mistakes. So I'm pushing that down. I'm going to use my bone folder to get it down really tight. And I'm going to use another piece of score tape just for protection on those edges. There we go. Oops. I didn't get that very good. I don't want it to stick out of my... There we go. And I'm going to burnish that down really well along all the corners and sides. Then we're going to take that paper off, and I'm going to glue this again. I'm going to put glue right here so it'll stick. That was my fault. I forgot to... I put it around my tabs. I forgot to put the other brad in before I did this. Okay, now, there we go. And if you burnish it down really well, keep your thumb under there if you want to push it on this side really well. And I get it as tight as I can to those brads so that there's no air, so that it won't pop up. Okay, there we go. We got half of it. Yay, we win. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to put the other side on. And in order to do that, I'm going to hold this pretty steady. Where's my other side? There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and latch this, put the latch in the hole. Okay. And then I'll hold this pretty tight. And I will mark one of the holes. Okay. So again, we're going to do the same thing, only this time I'm going to do it right. I'm going to measure it just to make sure that it's not over 1/4 of an inch. Okay, it's not. That's pretty good. Okay, so I put a small hole. And be careful, these are very sharp, very, very sharp. I will get one of my brads, and I want to make sure that it's folding down, that my swing clasp is folding down. So I'm going to go ahead and put the one on. I will turn it over, and I'm going to open this. Push it down pretty hard so that it gets as flat as I possibly can. Okay, so once I've done that, then I go ahead and I can do the other side. This is what I should have done the first time. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I will use my awl right through there. And be careful you don't stick yourself. These things, I have done it, they hurt. They are very sharp. Okay. now we want to go ahead and put on our tape, our score tape, just to protect it just a little bit. You can use masking tape if you don't have score tape, just something to kind of cover it so that it doesn't cut your decorative paper. And I'm keeping my thumb under here, or my hand, so that I don't press down too hard and crack my spine. And I want to get that really nice and tight. So just take your time with this part. This is really important to get it to stick nicely. Okay, so do we have another scrap paper that we can use? Nope. Nope. Okay, I'm going to cut one of my other papers. I'm going to set that aside for a minute, push everything out of the way, and we're going to cut. And first of all, since I have white around here, I am going to go ahead and cut off, first of all, my white margin. And I usually don't save white papers. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut off one of the other margins. And at this point, I only do 2 margins. So then we're going to do pretty much the same thing we did before. We're going to go ahead and put this as close as we can to the edge, and we will mark the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and mark the side also. Okay, so we're going to cut the side, and you'll see me, I tried to get everything lined up over here the same distance. Okay, cut, save that, and then we will do this one. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and smudge this. I hope you're enjoying the shorter videos. I know that, like Victoria Designs, she will do this entire project in an hour and a half, 2-hour video. And for a lot of people, that's really great. I can handle her videos because I stop them and start them, back them up, start them, you know. But some people, they get, especially if you're new, you might get a little frustrated with a longer video. And so I try to break things down just a little bit smaller. And I hope that she doesn't mind that I do this. She seems very sweet. She just seems to want to help the paper community. So I think she's a very sweet lady. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to take off this score tape. I am going to put some glue around these extra special, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue my paper . Kind of reminds you of kindergarten, doesn't it, or first grade, when you played with paper and paste and scissors and just had a good old time. Okay, so I want to make sure and get this close enough to the edge that it covers the brads that I put in here. And I'm going to burnish it down pretty well on the sides, and some of my glue is sticking out, and that's okay. I don't have a problem with that. And I'm going to flip it because then I can push a little bit harder on this side. I'm going to try and find some flatter brads, and I want to go back and keep pushing a little bit on here just to make sure that it gets nice and connected, nice and attached, and won't pop up later. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And now, see, because these are a little bit higher, it's a little bit harder to get this to go in there, but there, it worked. And that's our, yeah, looks good. Okay, so the other thing that we want to do today before we're finished with this session is I want to go ahead and put this on. And so first of all, I want to make sure that it's centered, and I'm going to put it on this side, my bigger side front. I want to make sure that it's centered, so that's 1/2 inch, but I also want it 1.5 inches down. So I'm going to measure 1.5 inches, and this is one of the reasons I really like this ruler. I can measure 1.5 inches down, but then there's also the 1/2 inch right in the middle here. So I don't have to make 3 or 4 different marks to get where I want it to be. I'm going to go ahead and put that right in the center of my spine, 1.5 inches down, and then I'm going to mark where the 1/2 inch is between the two of them. And that's right there. Okay, so first of all, I want to go ahead and punch my hole. And I just do it very lightly so that this doesn't go through both papers, just goes through the one. And then I'm going to go ahead and make sure my fingers are out of the way and push this just about all the way down, and you can see I have a hole. Now these come pre-opened, so the first thing you need to do before you put it in there is close them and then stick them in that little hole that you've just made. Okay, and we're going to flip it. And again, we want our tails going up and down. If we do it this way, we have a chance of getting too close to our edge. So I'm going to go ahead and push that down. And it's a little crooked, so once the tails are open, you can swivel it. You can see how I can swivel that. Okay, I'm going to push that. I'm going to push that. And I support it on the other side so that I don't break my spine. Okay, the next thing I want to do, I didn't put my pen in my glue. I cut myself yesterday on paper. That hurt. The next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and take my score tape, and I want to get a piece big enough that's going to cover that nicely. And so, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some smaller pieces across this way first. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to burnish those down first of all around that edge. I'm going to pick those off. That didn't stick very well, did it? I've done this on smaller brad endings and it sticks just a little bit nicer. Okay, now I'm going to put one on one side and burnish it down really well. I'm going to lift this one. That is not wanting to stick very well. Okay, try it again. There we go. And then I'm going to put a second piece on the other side. This just reinforces it quite well. Okay, so I want to burnish this down really well. And especially on a bigger brad ending that this one has. The smaller ones, it's not such a big deal. So then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my glue, quite a bit of glue around that because it's big. And then, oh, we don't have a paper. Oh, gosh, Carla. All right, let's cut our paper real quick. Nice and quick. I thought I had a paper. Oh, you know what? I don't need a paper yet for that because, yeah. Okay. What we want to do is we want to cover our 7/8 inch. And I'm going to go ahead and leave about 1 inch on each side. There we go. And this is 7/8, so I want about that much. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I'm not going to burnish this yet because we're just going to glue this on. Okay, so I made a great big mistake. You don't need to do this yet. We're going to do this tomorrow. And I'm going to put this pretty close in the center. Hold it down, and since I've already put glue on that, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And then I will cut off my corners. And you've seen me do this. I use my flat table as a surface to make sure I get everything pretty flat. Okay, and now I'm going to glue. I think I hurried too much through this video, and I do apologize for that. So I'm going to push that, burnish it. Same thing on this one. And we've done this before on other albums, so I know that you know how to do this actually. I'm going to push, push, burnish. Oh, I think I messed with glue. I must have been a really nasty little kindergartner with glue. Actually, I didn't go to kindergarten. I threw such a fit that my mother took me home, and I went to first grade just fine. But I did not go to kindergarten. I did not want to go to kindergarten. Okay. And I did just fine without kindergarten. Okay, so that is that. And we are going to smudge these sides. So tomorrow we're going to do our signatures, and we're going to staple them in here, and then we're going to attach it here. We don't attach this yet. And I'm just to protect this, I'm going to go ahead and put more score tape on it because I did this too fast. I didn't need to do this yet. And so you've learned from my mistakes, and I made this mistake several times, so it's not like I really learned anything, so to speak. I just get excited and I get in a hurry. So I'm going to put another layer on, which won't hurt it at all, until tomorrow to protect it. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow when we put our spine and our signatures in, but for now you should have this. Oh, and it looks so pretty. It looks so Halloweenish. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope I haven't gone too fast for you. If I have, please leave a message down in the bottom, and I will make myself a note and stick it right here so that I remember not to go so fast next time. I'm just excited to get this done because I know Halloween's coming. I love Halloween. Okay, meet me back here next time and we will go ahead and do our signatures. Thank you for stopping. I hope you've enjoyed this. Bye-bye.